Hello everyone, welcome back to another interesting session of the Analyst. Today we are going to comprehensively discuss 7 articles under 2 sections. These articles have been sourced from the Indian Express and the Hindu. In section A, we will analyze 2 articles in depth. First article deals with the topic of good governance. What is it? Its significance, various challenges, initiatives undertaken and the way forward for further improving governance. Second article is about the global warming. What is the current status? Drivers of global warming. Its consequences, numerous Indian efforts and the measures that could be further adopted. Next, in section B, which is the simplified section, we will take another 5 articles along with the value addition part. This will help you in your upcoming prelims. So stay tuned. So beginning with the first article of the day, Vice President recently said that good governance needs fiscal prudence and not populism. He also claimed that in these times, good governance is driven by democracy rather than democracy. So democracy is basically emotion-driven public policy and public initiatives. As long as we are driven by that principle, in essence, good governance will not be achieved. The public welfare, which is sought to be achieved through good governance via various initiatives, that will not be taken care of. So first of all, let's understand what is good governance, what are its key criteria or key objectives, and how can we further improve on that aspect. So let's just to define the good governance, there are critical aspects of it. And first of all, it's basically the process of decision making and to execute those decisions. And it also includes an element of not implementing those decisions as well. For example, some decisions in the policy making could not be as fruitful as we thought earlier. Then it will also include the aspect of not executing and implementing that step. So good governance is about that. When we say governance, and the difference between good governance is that it includes all the sections of the society, all the regions, marginalized as well as the common people. Second, it's also about the management of country's resources, economic as well as social resources, and keeping in mind the aspect and the principle of equity and equality. Kautilya in Arthashastra very famously said that the benefits as well as the welfare of the subject is actually the benefit and welfare of the king itself. That is, the benefit of the king lies in the welfare of the citizens or the people that he is or she is ruling. So from there arose the concept of good governance, and there are key concepts and key substances which form and constitutes good governance. First of them would be the participation. First element would be participation. In that, we have to ensure that the common people from whom the policies are being framed, they are also taking part by the way of feedback. We are taking active feedback. It's a two-way process. So their concerns are taken, are included, and the policies are framed keeping those considerations in mind. Secondly, it has to be driven as per the rule of law. It cannot be driven by the Matsya law, or where superior people with more power rules the weaker people. So that's why it has to be driven by a rule of law. It has to be transparent. What outcomes are there, what output we are achieving, what are the steps and what are the resources that we are using. There has to be clear information of that, and it has to be conveyed to both sides of participants. Then it has to be responsive as per the demand of the people. Again, consensus has to be there, because eventually the outcome and the achievements are bound to fall on public at the end. So therefore, their views and opinions becomes very important, and if their concerns are not addressed, then what is the purpose of governance in the end? Next comes the accountability. We have to ensure who are implementing those policies, who are formulating those policies, are held accountable to public institutions after all. Then they have to be effective and efficient. Not just the output, but eventual outcome has to be recorded and analyzed along the set target, whether we have been able to achieve those targets or not, whether that has actually translated into the welfare of people or not. Then again, as I said, it has to be inclusive, including of all the sections of the society, as well as marginalized sections, and including all the regions, be it urban areas or the rural and remote areas. So these are the basic characteristics of good governance. Now, what is the significance of good governance? As long as we are talking about the importance of good governance, you should know that December 25 we celebrate December 25 as Good Governance Day, and it is the day or the birth anniversary of our former Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee. So coming back to the significance and importance of good governance, first of all, it leads to inclusive development and economic growth. For example, in case of inclusive development, we have taken steps such as PM Jan Dhan Yojana. And the goal is to achieve financial inclusion for all the sections of the society. In the similar way, for achieving economic growth and to ensure good governance on ground, we have taken efforts such as Make in India. And again, there is another effort such as ease of doing business. So the content and the goal is to include and to promote more investment into the country so that economic growth could be promoted for all the sections of the society. Then about transparency and accountability, and as long as we are talking about rule of law, we have also established the provisions and steps like e-courts, whereby the disbursal of justice has become easier. Now to access justice has become further more comfortable for all the sections of the society. Then as long as we are talking about transparency and accountability, efforts such as RTI, Right to Information Act, has come out handy. It has become a key to good governance. In fact, it is called as master key of good governance to ensure that information is two-way and people are more aware. Then public service delivery. In this case, we have steps such as DBT, direct benefit transfer, so that various subsidies and various initiatives for the welfare of people could be translated towards them on the right time. Then as we are talking about social cohesion, developing trust, bonding with this community or between the members of the society, we have taken steps such as Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. We have also carried campaigns such as Darwaza Band campaign. It has led to development of community feeling, brotherhood feeling and fraternity between the members of the society, and they have actively taken part in such initiatives to make them a success. Then during crisis management, we again saw during COVID-19 that it was the efforts of good governance, the good connectivity, the good way of communicating those efforts to the public, to the lower levels of society, it became possible to manage crisis of the tune of COVID-19. Then again, it strengthens, all of these efforts strengthen at the end the democratic process that we have kept. And for example, My Government platform ensures various kinds of services, and also it ensures that it takes feedback from the people side as well. So these you can quote and write under the points of significance of good governance. Now moving ahead, we'll see what are the key initiatives that the government has taken. So first of all, Good Governance Day, as I said, it is celebrated every year on December 25. There is one personality from Indian National Freedom who also is having his birth anniversary on December 25. Can you tell me in the comment section who was this personality? Of course, we have former Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee. Apart from him, there was one personality from Indian National Movement. Now coming to the second step initiative that we have taken, there is Good Governance Index. It has around 54 indicators, around 10 sectors. So it ensures that all of these index catering to different kinds of demands is measured timely and all the feedback is given to the system so that there could be continuous improvement. Then Good Governance Week is observed in December from December 19 to 24. It was celebrated in 2024 as well. And the theme was Prashasan Gaon Ki Or. That means governance towards villages. We also need governance at the local levels, including villages and panchayats. The fourth step would be National E-Governance Plan. Now to cater and ensure that these services are delivered at your doorstep or even in the rural and remote areas through community service centers, CSCs, we have undertaken National E-Governance Plan. Then there is an RTI Act, Right to Information Act, where any person, individual or the community as such could seek any information in the interest of public. Then there is Mission Karmyogi, which which seeks to attain capacity building and training civil servant officers so that they are better capable to deal with new upcoming challenges. Now, certain challenges in good governance. There are also, it's not just that we have taken initiatives and they are working wonders. Of course, they have achieved success, but we are seeing some hindrances and some challenges are still there. So some of those loopholes, starting with economic and social insecurity. If we see, we still have an unemployment rate of around 6 to 7%. That means those people are still outside of the cover of schemes such as Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, for example. That means they still are not covered under the cover of good governance. Then we have institutional constraints. That means if, let's say, we are suffering through some sort of corruption in all of these institutes, we have a case of red tapeism, complex laws and increasing procedures where a lot of time gets wasted, a lot of resources get wasted, and every year we see that around 0.5% of India's GDP goes to waste while fighting with corruption. Then we have ineffective legal system and policy making. This you can understand by the load of cases that we have that are pending in courts. More than 5 crore cases are pending at various level of courts, be it High Court, Supreme Court or the subordinate lower courts. Then there we have poor accountability mechanism. For example, in schemes such as Manrega, there are sometimes money is misused or sometimes these returns are delayed. And then at the end, we also witnessed lack of political will. Even if some good suggestions are there, we will not see those getting deployed, especially in the case of local governance at the level of villages or local bodies. When we talk about state deploying and allocating these functions and funds to these villages and panchayats, that is not being seen actively. There is, again, it leads to trust deficit between people and the people who are governing them. So these are certain challenges. As you can see, there are crucial elements of good governance. They have to be public servants who will, of course, implement these policies. They have to be public institutions to take care of formulation of those policies, again to take care of the monitoring and taking the feedback. And this has to ensure that public interest at the end is established. Now, what could be the way forward? In order to add and to bring improvement to some of these challenges that we just read, first of all, we have to simplify the governance processes. We have to see if there are complex processes. We have to ensure that these are easily understandable by the local man or the layman in easy language. If the laws or the language that is being used in framing those laws, that has to be come down into easier language. Then we have to empower local governance, including panchayats and rural areas. We have to ensure that citizen actively participates. This could be done through initiatives such as RTI. It could be citizen charters. It could be social audits and others. So this will lead to more participation of people. They will get involved. They will feel important when they are involved, when their feedback and when their opinions are taken while formulating and implementing these policies. And we need to uplift the marginalized. So we have to specially form policies which particularly takes care of these sections and the areas. Why this we can do? Probably by adopting the principle of positive discrimination or affirmative action that we already have in our laws and our constitution. We have to ensure transparency and efficiency as well. The economies, the resources that we are using, we have to ensure that not a lot of it is going into the wastage. We have to economies of scale as well. Then ethical governance. At the end, good governance is not enough. Good governance would lead to good result, but ethical governance would come in where those are driven by the principles of ethics. When the resources are equally and equitably giving benefits to all the sections of the society. So that is all about good governance. Now, time for the question. What defines good governance? What are the major challenges to its effective implementation in India? Highlight the measures that can be taken to strengthen the governance framework. Try to answer it in 250 words. Coming to the second article of the day, IPCC has recently warned that the goal of limiting the increased temperature that we set at 1.5 degrees Celsius is now only remains a bleak possibility, and even in the Paris climate that we had set a target of around 2 degrees and possibly 1.5 degrees to avoid the irreversible damage to the earth and its atmosphere. However, IPCC has come out with a warning, and it says this only remains a bleak possibility going by the kind of attention all the countries have been giving to this aspect. So let's read more about the climate change and overall global warming, how it is proceeding and how it is a serious concern for us to consider it and take active actions. So first of all, there is a question some of the sections of the society and the world across the globe are still asking, is Earth becoming warmer? So yes, it is, and mostly it is led by anthropogenic causes, that is human-led. So first of all, the evidence, one of the evidences, if we go on and see the temperature measurements since 1880s, which is a reliable indicator, it clearly indicates that the average temperature has gone more than 1.8 degrees Celsius since 1880s. Then we have also clearly been observing certain effects such as ocean warming, ocean bleaching, and melting of course, glaciers, then sea level rise. So all of this, and of course, this is all affecting the aquatic life as well. Ocean acidification, just to include in it, there are clear observational effects of these. There are clear evidences of these. There is an increase of sea level rise also of around 8 inches right from 1880s. Then there has been unprecedented warmth. Last year in 2024, we saw that was the hottest year on the record so far, and it registered an increase of around 1.5 degree Celsius. Now, scientific consensus, that is, we have come out with the IPCC report as well, and it has come out with various sectional reports which clearly indicates that climate change is a thing of the day, and it has been increasing with growing with not so accompanying efforts. Then reason for 1.5 degrees, as I said, that there are clear reasons that this temperature has already been achieved, and Paris Agreement, where we set the target of 1.5, is only remaining a bleak possibility now. The other target of 2 degrees Celsius, we have to achieve it at any cost, otherwise beyond it there will be irreversible damage to the environment. So that is about the basics of why or is the earth warming or not. Now, what are the drivers of global warming? So this could be discussed under two heads. First would be human-made or anthropogenic. Second could be natural causes. So starting with natural causes, you can see wherever the Earth's surface is witnessing geological phenomena such as volcanic eruption, you would see a sudden drop in temperatures at least for immediate time. Then there is sun's intensity, natural greenhouse gases, variation in solar activity, changes in Earth's reflectivity, Earth's rotation and revolution, and natural forest fire, not to say the human-led one. We are only talking about the natural forest fire and ocean currents. All of these are natural phenomena, and yes, they do lead to global warming, but this global warming is a natural process that we do need for the sustenance of life on Earth. This is not problematic. What the problematic part is the anthropogenic-led global warming and eventual climate change, which generates through this area. Basically, when we are practicing agriculture beyond a point, and then we are generating power through coal using fossil fuels, manufacturing goods, mining processes, forest degradation or deforestation, again transportation, vehicular pollution, producing food, population going beyond a sustainable level, going beyond the carrying capacity of the earth, powering, building, energy, producing the energy, and if that is not energy efficient, then it's a problem, and industrial and domestic waste. This all needs generation of heat, and for that we deploy all of these fossil fuels, which again generates a lot of green gases emissions. So these are the drivers, and you can see if we talk in terms of contribution of gases in global warming, the primary gas is CO2, of course, carbon dioxide, which is around 55% in composition. Then second comes, which is around CFC, 14%. Another prominent gas is actually methane, CH4, which holds a percentage of 12. Then we have water vapor and nitrogen dioxide. These are the prominent gases contributing to global warming at the global scale. Second is, what are the primary consequences of this rising global temperature, increasing gas emissions, and increasing and further enhanced climate change? So first of all, global sea level, as I said, since 1880s, 8 inches has already increased, and it can further increase, leading to melting of glaciers and submergence of low islands. Then 2024, as World Meteorological Organization dictated this year to be the hottest so far, and it registered 1.55 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels. Next, coming to droughts and heat waves. All of these disasters are not just these droughts and heat waves, even the cold waves, the cyclones, the hurricanes, all will register increased frequency as well as the increased intensity. That will bring more disasters, more destruction to the life and property of the people. Then there is a case of biodiversity loss, not just aquatic life, but even the life on lands, the wildlife, the vegetation, the human being, all will be affected by this. Then food production will suffer. If productivity of the food goes, let the temperature increase, and some crops will suit it, some crops will not suit it, will not get suited to that temperature, and we will have an issues of food security. Air quality, as the gases increase, the composition of air changes into the atmosphere, the quality of air will change. We will see consequences such as pollution, smog, smoke, etc. Ocean warming, we are already witnessing it. Increased temperature means vulnerability towards the aquatic life that is residing within the ocean. So this is again one of the prominent consequences of rising global warming temperatures or global temperatures. Now, coming to what India has done so far. So India has taken and worked on many aspects, many dimensions, including taking part in international collaboration and efforts. So first of all, starting with that, on international aspect, India has been an active participant and a member of Paris Agreement in 2030, which of course, and India has recently also declared its national determined contributions. We have Panchamrit targets. If you have not read it, please do read it. I will of course take it later on. So it has again under it 50% non-fossil fuel based energy by 2030. So it is one of the criteria under NDCs. What are the other criteria under national determined contributions? Write it in the comment box. Then there is an effort of International Solar Alliance along with Paris. India co-chairs this organization, and we have also been taking care of this principle, which is CBDR principle, common but differentiated responsibilities. Then at the national level, we have undertaken certain national policies, which is known by the name of National Action Plan on Climate Change. Under it, we have further sub-missions, particularly 8 in numbers. Similarly, those 8 missions takes care of various aspects such as solar mission, water mission, Green India mission. Then at the state level, we have similar State Action Plan on Climate Change. We also have adopted FAME policy for electric vehicles. Then coming down to forestation and also with respect to biodiversity, we are carrying National Afforestation Program. We have Green India Mission. We further have adopted CAMPA, Compensatory Afforestation and Fund Management and Planning Authority. Then carbon market and finance. This of course has PAT scheme, which is perform, achieve and trade, and we can conduct the trade on the basis of emissions that 2 companies or 2 countries are conducting. So it ensures that carbon market mechanisms are established at the global scale, and it becomes easier for 2 countries to purchase and give and take of these market tools. Then disaster resilience and climate adaptation, we have coal cess, we have imposed this green cess. We also have National Disaster Management Authority, NDMA, to take care of this aspect. Recent development we have, I already told you, we have undertaken Panchamrit strategy or targets in COP26. You can read them here. Now, what else can we do? This is all what we have done so far. What further can we do? So first of all, there is 6-sector approach which has been proclaimed by UNEP, United Nations Environment Programme, and it specifically highlights 6 sectors which are more greenhouse emissions, where greenhouse emissions are generated more in nature. So first of all, energy sector, industry, agriculture, forest, transports and building sectors. These 6 sectors are the prominent areas where we see more, of course, emissions of greenhouse gases. So these needs to be looked, active policy needs to be framed out and of course executed. Then energy efficiency, be it building, be it vehicles, be it various other procedures that where we are using energy, either we can develop innovative technologies so that emissions are reduced, or we can use alternative renewable energies. Then sustainable agriculture, taking to diversified agriculture, sustainable agriculture, micro irrigation, soil health card, all of these efforts will ensure that agriculture is sustainable and the green emissions are within the range of sustainable levels. Then reforestation and afforestation, because forest and trees per se act as a carbon sink. They store a lot of carbon dioxide. When those are removed, they get degraded, or let's say when somebody is conducting deforestation or leading to deforestation, that would mean that amount of carbon dioxide and other gases will be released into the atmosphere, contributing to greenhouse gases. Localized impact studies are very important to be conducted, because each of these regions suffer from different kind of issues when it comes to greenhouse gases. For example, mountains and coastal areas are very different in nature. They will have different sources which are releasing different kind of gases, or at least different in amount. So separate strategies need to be chalked out. So in that, we have to be careful when we are framing our policies, and that should take care of this topic, global warming. Now try to answer this question in 250 words. Question is, discuss the factors contributing to the global temperature rise. How can the effects of global warming be effectively mitigated? Elaborate. Moving to the simplified section. First article is, government launches AI Kosha or AI Kosha, repository of data to build models and tools. So let's read more about this. The Union government has launched this platform, and what it is basically touted as a home for non-personal data. So it will gather and accumulate non-personal data. Remember, there are two types of data, personal and non-personal. So this AI Kosha is particularly concerned with non-personal data. Okay, so that will be gathered and accumulated at a place at this platform, which is known as AI Kosha. It will assist in developing artificial intelligence further models and tools, because to develop these models and tools, we need certain kind of data. We need information. On that information, we'll of course produce some kind of commands, and that further would help in establishing and developing these models and tools. That's why we need data. Now, at present, this platform has around 316 data sets, which generally, most of it is related to validating language translation tools for Indian language. So it's a good beginning. We have around 316 database. Most of it is for translation, are acting as translation tools for Indian languages. Apart from it, we also have data sets from other areas. That would include submissions from Telangana's open data initiative, such as health data. From there, we have taken certain database from the Telangana's own open data initiative. Then we have also data sets from 2011 census data and satellite imagery captured by Indian satellites. Some of the meteorological data is also there, and pollution related data is already been included. So this is, so far we have been starting with. Now the mission has an, first of all, the overall mission is the India AI mission, and under India AI mission, remember, we have one of the part as AI Kosha, or you can say India AI database. So this is one of the parts under the active mission that is ongoing, and this mission itself has an outlay of around 10,370 crore rupees. So you can remember that also. Now going forward, the why government has come up with this? Minister has said that in the backdrop of Chinese government launching, or the Chinese launching DeepSeek, the app, probably a secondary to ChatGPT, India as a country needs to develop its own AI model, and that's why this is the pure beginning from that aspect. And further, to talk about AI Kosha, this initiative has been launched by Ministry of Electronics and Information and Technology. Then the objective is to develop or to become a unified platform for having data sets, AI models and tools to boost AI innovation in the country. Then we have key features. It will have a repository. It will also have a sandbox. What is a sandbox? Basically, this is a small area where we can apply some of these applications so that we can assess the impact. We can assess the pros and cons, and later on we can roll out in a larger area. So then it also has one of the key features as security. It is full secured system. The significance is it will boost AI development. It will lead to increased startups because these startups will be able to use this platform for better information and data. It will help researchers, students, academics, institutes and businesses as well. And of course, it will lead to data accessibility even to the common man. Now the next article, which is about Pashu Aushadhi initiatives for healthcare of livestock. Remember that this is about Pashu, which is livestock. So this, as we see about this, government has launched Pashu Aushadhi stores across the country to provide affordable generic veterinary medicines for livestock. We have similar kind of efforts for general and generic medicines. What is that scheme? Jan Aushadhi Kendras. So it is based and familiarized on the same lines. Similarly, the Pashu Aushadhi stores have been developed, and this initiative is itself a part of revised livestock health and disease control program. Remember the name, livestock health and disease control program. The Pashu Aushadhi stores form a part under that program. This bigger program, livestock health and disease control program, has an outlay of around 3,880 crores for 2 years, 2024 to 2026. Of this, 75 crores, so out of this total program that it has been conducted more than 3,000 crores, of around 75 crores will be given towards developing these Aushadhi, Pashu Aushadhi centers. And like I said, this has been based on Jan Aushadhi Kendras, which distributes and gives quality generic medicines at affordable prices. More than, and as long as we are talking about Jan Aushadhi Kendras, more than 10,300 Pradhan Mantri Bharati Jan Aushadhi Kendras are already functional, which provides generic medicines even to the critical patients such as cancer. March 7 per se in particular is celebrated as Jan Aushadhi Divas. Remember the date, this could be asked in your prelims. Then further, why Pashu Aushadhi stores, or why Pashu Aushadhi, that means livestock medicines or generic medicines, matter? So the first of all is, the point is, as per the 20th livestock census that India conducted, livestock population stands at around 538 million in 2019. According to the Ministry of Fisheries, Animal Husbandry and Dairying, the productivity of livestock is impacted adversely. Why this productivity has been impacted? This has been on record due to various diseases. What are those particular diseases? Foot and mouth disease, a very prominent one. Another prominent one is brucellosis. Then we have PPR, CSF and lumpy skin diseases. So you can remember 2 or 3 names of these. This will help you in establishing your claim. Then while measures such as vaccination drive, so the government has actively conducted some of these vaccination drive, but still there are gaps, and for filling up those gaps, we need more steps. Significant portion of out-of-pocket expenditure to farmers, especially livestock farmers, goes into buying medicines for their cattle and livestock. So that's why the logic of establishing this Pashu Aushadhi centers. Now, in organization and administration wise, these will be run by cooperatives and Pradhan Mantri Kisan Samriddhi Kendras. So the organization and the operational will be taken care of by cooperative societies. The Department of Animal Husbandry and Dairying will release guidelines for their functioning. So guidelines will be released but will be taken care by cooperative societies. That they will also sell ethno-veterinary medicines which are based on traditional beliefs and indigenous knowledge and practices. So some of these people are well versed with the kind of knowledge, what medicines, what local and traditional medicines should be given to these cattle and animals. They will also be disbursed through these centers. So this was about this article. Now some of initiatives, some information about this initiative, Pashu Aushadhi initiative. This was launched in March 2025 to provide affordable generic veterinary medicines. It has an outlay of 75 crore, like I said, and it will be distributed through PM Kisan, Samriddhi Kendras and cooperatives. You can just have a summary of this. Remember this for your prelims based information or even for mains. Focus diseases are, like I said, foot and mouth disease, which is FMD, brucellosis, PPR, CSF and lumpy skin disease. Benefits: healthier livestock, better productivity, more production, better production of, for example, it could be milk, it could be milk related products, and higher farmer income. Of course, it will lead to healthy and rural economy as well. more profits to farmers also. Now the next article, which is about the world's costliest cow, booming in Brazil but dwindling in India. And the irony is that cattle is indigenous to India, which is where it is going on the lines of getting extinct. But on the other hand, in Brazil, it is increasing in number. Let's read what is this irony and how does it start. So first of all, India on its own has so far been have been fighting this lone war at saving these Ongole species. So the cow breed's name is Ongoles. They are generally found in Andhra Pradesh. They are indigenous to that area. They have high productivity and they survive the harsh and summery climates. So one of the 53 indigenous cattle varieties in the country, in India, it is one of those, and it is having movement under the Brazilian sun. So in Brazil, they are the most expensive cattle in the world. But that is not the case with India, despite being indigenous to this region. It's a breed that thrives in Brazil. About 80% of all the cows that it has, or all the country's cattle, are actually Ongoles. Now in India, way back home, the breed is facing the threat of extinction. Why? Its numbers because we are reading through numbers, we are conducting certain surveys, we have analyzed the numbers have reduced, it almost have gone half, from 15 lakh in 1944 to around 6.34 lakh in 2019 livestock census. Second aspect of this, that the price of the cattle is still at the lower range in India as against Brazil. In India, a cow is sold at the rate of a lakh per lakh a cow, and rupees 10 to 15 lakh for a priced bull. So there are differences with respect to cow and bull also. And if you compare with these two prices with respect to Brazil's prices, they are again at a much difference. Next is that there have been, we have launched Rashtriya Gokul mission in keeping these problems in sight. However, this has not led to good results. This has not led to satisfactory results, and farmers still prefer exotic and crossbred cattle. Why? Because their productivity and the yield of milk is more, and that's why they take to exotic and crossbred cattle rather than indigenous varieties such as Ongole. This is, of course, is still reflected in around 30% jump in the population of exotic and crossbred cattle. Now on the need to conserve the indigenous breed, but why do we still need to conserve this breed? Because this is one of the precious breed that we have. First of all, they are the most farmer friendly cattle. Second, their yield and characteristics suit our climate, the climate that India has, especially the dry areas in such as Telangana, Hyderabad, or the plateau regions that we have, or the Rajasthan drylands. There they suit the climate, they are suitable for a soil and the farmers as well. They are superior to several crossbred animals in more ways than one, including disease resistance and strength. If they can withstand at such high temperatures, they can withstand disease, they can withstand, and they have the required strength, they would be more suitable and comfortable for the farmers than the crossbred, which are not really suitable for this local climates. Now also they are also known for their heat tolerance and ability to survive on low fodder. So there are these number of benefits of these Ongole cattle. This breed is India's pride. This indigenous cattle helped our farmers till the hardest of terrains to plant crops. So before planting crop, we need to till the land. For that, the bull coming from this indigenous cattle proves to be of significance to Indian farmers. Similarly, the Nandi bulls in Shiva temples with their distinct hump are modeled in fact on the Ongole. So they do also have the cultural significance. So, more about this Ongole cattle. It's actually is an indigenous breed from Ongole region in Andhra Pradesh, India, Prakasam district. Its scientific name is Bos indicus. You can remember this. Physical features, it has a large muscular body with white or grey coat, distinctive hump, and if we talk about males, they have larger hump. They also have long curved horns and strong legs. Further, they have characteristics such as heat tolerance, high heat tolerance, disease resistance. Milk production is a bit moderate, but it has high fat content. Then they also have powerful bulls Economically and agricultural significance wise, they are exported to Brazil, USA, Southeast Asia, and they are used in drought prone regions due to their resilience and low fodder requirement. Then conservation efforts wise, we have undertaken national Kamdhenu breeding centers to ensure their healthy breeding that promotes indigenous breeds, and they also are preserving native cattle genes. So this what we have done on the sector or on the aspect of Ongole cattle. Now moving towards another article which is about research and development fund. Government has come out with an initiative, or within at least is about to come with an effort where it would set around 1 lakh crore fund to stimulate private sector research and development. It is about to get an approval from the government, and the speciality and the differentiating factor about this is that this will be private sector led. So let's read more about it. The government is about to launch this scheme, 1 lakh crore fund towards private sector investment in core research and development. How this is different from other one? Because so far private sector has not been actively involved in these kind of funds. So the unique attribute is primarily in the form of low interest, long-term loans. The interest would be low and it will be long-term. So private companies can come up with their initiatives, demonstrate that, and if they have the potential, they can have these loans. And if they have the potential to develop the commercial product, they would easily get such loans. It will be available to private companies to develop novel products. Then the major weakness is that in India's case, the share of investment in case of research and development is still less than 1% of GDP. If we compare with some of these developed countries, they have spent between 1.5 to 3%. And let's talk about South Korea, which is a range of around 5%. So with that keeping in mind, we have kept that newly created Anusandhan National Research Foundation is likely to administer this scheme, whereby it will also raise the share of GDP. It will also take care where private sector will be actively involved in this aspect, and the private sector company will have to make a compelling case to come out with a commercial product. Tenures for loan, the tenure of loan will be from 5 to 7 years, and proposals would be evaluated by a professional company and not by departments of science and technology. So it will be a very professional body which will evaluate, analyze and assess that product, and eventually the loan will be given. So this was about the research and development fund. The last article of the day is about INSV Tarini. We have seen that this circumnavigation of the earth conducted by Indian successful women have been going on. Now under this, INSV Tarini has left Port Stanley in the Falkland Islands Tuesday, and it is ready for its onward journey to Cape Town, and this is the 4th leg. So basically there are 5 legs in this circumnavigation around the earth, which has been conducted or which is ongoing and has been taken by these 2 Lieutenant Commander. In fact, one of them is Dilna K and another is Lieutenant Commander Rupa, under the Navika Sagar Parikrama expedition. So they are carrying it out. They are on their 4th leg of this circumnavigation. Let's see what are there are, like I said, there are 5 legs. First of is from Goa to Fremantle, Australia. Second is from Australia to New Zealand. Third is New Zealand to Falkland Islands. 4th is Falkland Islands to again Cape Town, which is the 4th one where they are proceeding. 5th is from Cape Town, South Africa to again coming back to Goa and India. So you can remember these legs. They can help you in information regarding your prelims knowledge. Then in the 4th leg, remember that this the INSV Tarini will also pass through Drake. In fact, it has passed through Drake Passage. This was the most critical part of their passage. They have successfully passed through it. Remember its location. It lies below South America. Here is the Argentina. Then we have Pacific Ocean here, Atlantic Ocean and Southern Ocean in the south, right before Antarctic Peninsula. So you can remember this passage. It is very important. And when we are talking about, as long we are talking about the 4th leg of the circumnavigation, it starts from Port Stanley till South Africa, Cape Town. The distance is around 4,000 nautical miles and it will be covered over 1 month. navigating through the South Atlantic Ocean, strong winds, high waves, typical of the region, and cold temperatures, of course, unpredictable weather conditions also. So this is not as easy as it looks. It is one of the longest and toughest legs of the journey. Like I said, it also involves the longest and toughest legs out of the 5 legs of the journey that we have. It is crucial for testing the endurance and resilience of the crew. That is the primary purpose why we are carrying such kind of operations. So this was all for today. I hope you liked this session. Thank you and all the best.